There is a story of how JJR started. When I had gone with Walt to Michigan in 1958, I think in 1960, probably a year and a half after I got there, I had worked with the university a little bit on some projects. I got acquainted with the vice president for finance, under whom that kind of thing fell. So he called and said, could we have lunch? We went to the faculty club, and it was a little different. I was a faculty member, but I was not a real academic. And I didn't go to the faculty club often, once in a while. But this one had white tablecloths. It was rather severe kind of place to eat. We met there, the two of us, the vice president for finance. His name was Bill Pierpont. Impressive person who would be kind of a role model type guy. And we talked, and he said that the university was going to grow beyond what they could even estimate, and it would be big. He didn't know when or how that was all going to happen, but change was on its way, and something needed to be done about a plan. And he said, we don't have a plan, but we need one, and it has to be a plan that is like this. And he said, this plan needs to have a strong sense of direction for our policy making, but no predetermined form of buildings or size or place. Can you do that? I said, sure. We do that all the time. We know how to do that. He said, okay. If you know how to do that, tell me how you would go about it. And this is at the lunch. And I went through a very typical start to finish process that we all pretty much know in school. It was kind of an analytic approach and synthesis and the options and the evaluation criteria and so on, and you come up with a direction so that everybody can follow and be included. He says, that sounds just like how I think. So give me a proposal. And he said, start with the North Campus first. We'll see if that works out. And then go to the medical center and see what happens there. And lastly, we'll tackle the Central Campus. And so I made a proposal at North Campus, and it started. And the plan we came up with for North Campus was a game board, a checkerboard of playing the game from framework to detail. And here's how you go about playing it, and you can play this game and you can come up with decisions out of a policy framework like this. They loved that idea. It was published. And then Medical Center was a quick study, that quick meaning 8 or 9 months, recommending to the regents that the university turn the Medical Center around 180 degrees and face its future on the valley rather than the town. Town couldn't handle it in that big sense of growth probabilities. They were aghast at that suggestion, but saw its virtue, and 20 years later it was flipped, turned, and today it's 180 degrees turned around. It took some time. The Central Campus was the prime piece. That's the one that triggered everything else, with this plan that summed up in a 5-minute sketch for the next 20 years. This is where to go. And it was a strategy of central piece of the university being the prime programs, the surrounding set of professional programs. Each precinct it surrounds would have a center of distinction through which a academic avenue would flow towards a parking supply. That plan, which I just described in a few words, was put into a diagram. And when I summed up the study for the regents, I drew that plan on a sheet of paper by the chalkboard, and it took about 5 minutes, and it represented a year's study. And the president he always came, but he's always in the back row. And after presenting that, he got up and came up to the front, sat down again, and he said, "Do that again." And I went through that diagram again, explained it in 5 minutes. And the only thing he said is that I could draw that too. Even I could draw that. And they approved what we're doing, and it went on fine. But I heard back later that he would often talk about the plan of the University of Michigan for the next number of years. And here's what we're going to do, and he'd draw that diagram. What I picked up from that was that if you can get your client to draw the plan in 5 minutes and be glad about it, you've got a winner.